Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. It is the day after Labor Day. Had an amazing day yesterday with my siblings. My sister turned 22. So that's amazing. Really happy. She grew up so fucking fast. But yeah, so I am here today because I want to talk about self-limiting beliefs. And if I don't start talking about self limiting beliefs, my own self limiting beliefs are going to get a hold of me, and I'm not going to be doing this video because believe you me, I have tried doing this video for like the past 4 or 5 days. Okay. Over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I'm going to upload another video. Like, I'm going to try to make Saturday my regular routine. Guys, Sunday rolled around, and I'm over here recording. It's like 7 o'clock at night. The sun is down. The footage isn't usable anymore. And I just sit there like, okay, okay. It's not happening. It's not happening. The video is not going up by the end of the weekend, even if I really wanted it to. Um, and what was holding me back was myself. For me, I was struggling with a limiting belief. And that limiting belief was the idea that, like, why am I making a YouTube video when, my voice is going to be annoying? Like what if my voice is annoying? And I genuinely do have fears about my voice being annoying because back when I was in high school, there was a class that we took, a psych class, and one of the exercises was to write down all the good qualities about someone and the negative qualities about someone. And essentially, the entire class wrote on a sheet of paper what they perceived were your good qualities and your bad qualities. And get this, they were read to you. You were put in a hot seat right in the middle of the classroom, and everyone was around you. The teacher actually went through the sheets of paper that your classmates wrote about you, and she would read them to you in the middle of the class. Yep. Yep. And one of the negative qualities was that my voice was annoying. And ever since then, it has stuck. And I think that is the power of self limiting beliefs, right? Self limiting beliefs are this idea of an internalized script. It's a script that you tell yourself about you, your capabilities, your potential, your worthiness, you know, it's a story about you. And I dare say that they are lies. They are fucking lies. They have to be lies. Because, someone's perceived truth about you doesn't mean that it's actually true. Just because, like, in high school, some kid found my voice annoying doesn't mean that everyone finds my voice annoying. But because I believed that lie, that perceived truth from someone else, that projection, I carried that with me for years on end. Until this fucking day, guys. I mean, like, I'm recording, I'm still thinking to myself, like, okay, my voice is probably annoying. And so I really do want to, like, talk about these self-limiting beliefs because, like, they linger, and they can come from anywhere. They can have long-term damaging limiting effects, and that's a no-go. Self-limiting beliefs are not the way to live your life. So where do self-limiting beliefs come from? Well, I kind of already hinted at one of the possible sources, and that's your peers. So it can be friends, family, culture, social media. I mean, social media is a killer because of comparison. Comparison is like one of the most damaging self-limiting beliefs that you can subscribe to because you go online, you see all these people, you see what they are versus what you are not. And before you know it, you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm not this super hot boy with abs and a pretty face. So I'm not gonna amount to anything. I'm not gonna build a community. I'm not gonna get a bunch of followers, and no one's gonna be paying attention to me because I'm not some hot jacked guy. You know, which isn't true. You don't have to be a hot jacked guy. Um. So yes. So friends, family, peers. You know, culture, society, and comparison. That is where you can subscribe to self-limiting beliefs, and so self-limiting beliefs will look different to everyone. Everyone has their own ideas of themselves that are negative, so like for example, again, me making these videos, my negative, my self-limiting belief is my voice is annoying. No one's gonna watch my videos. I'm not some hot jacked guy, so I'm already losing out on potential people who will listen to the message, Um, and those self-limiting beliefs end up hurting me because they stifle my potential. They rob my opportunity to make these videos because if I listen to them, which I did over the weekend, the video doesn't get uploaded. And if the video doesn't get uploaded, then I will never find out for myself where this might take me, who might resonate with the message, and build a community, build a like minded community where we're kind of like, let's work on ourselves, Um, and then I'm stuck, I stay in a place of being stuck and I never move forward with the videos. I never move forward with making clothes or starting a business or going down another creative venture, because I'm just going to talk myself out of it. And so that's kind of the part that I really want to hone in too, because these internal scripts that we subscribe to, that we believe, these lies, if you will, that we tell ourselves, end up shaping the way that we move in our lives. If we always feel like we're not worthy, that we're not creative, that we're not talented, that you're not attractive, then you end up behaving in a way that limits you from success. Shortly put, it limits you from success because then you'll never try that thing. You'll never attempt to learn it and you won't practice it. So then you won't get anywhere, And it's just like, oh my goodness, that's no way to live your life. And so how can we identify these lies? What can we do about these self-limiting beliefs? Like how can we work on them, right? Because everyone has them. Everyone has their own script that they believe about themselves. And the first thing to, I think, point out is identify them, right? Notice them first. If you're trying a new creative project or if you find yourself in like this negative self loop about yourself, notice the script. Be like, wait a minute. Why am I saying these things to myself? Why am I deciding that, I'm not worthy, that I'm not creative, that I'm not talented, that I don't have the ability to learn this new skill or apply to this dream job of mine? Like, what is it about me that's preventing myself from even trying to put my foot in the door, And a part of that is trying to recognize where this idea came from. Was it a family member? Was it a friend? Was it a past failed experience? Was it something that you saw online, that you kind of just took as fact without ever really kind of challenging it? And that brings me to, the second step. Once you identify it, once you notice the script, challenge it. by, again, figuring out where it came from and asking yourself, most importantly, is it true? Is it true? Why do you believe this? Who said this to you? You know? Was it, again, a past filled experience? Have you attempted to forgive yourself and to try again? To try again. Because you are allowed to try again. You are allowed to try as many times as it takes until you become successful. Just putting it out there. So once you identify it and you notice it, and once you challenge it, I strongly recommend reframing it. Yes, reframing it. And it's going to sound silly. It's going to sound woo woo because I'm going to say affirmations are going to be your best friend. But hear me out. A self limiting belief, if you want to think about it in this manner, is just simply a negative affirmation about yourself. Instead of saying, my voice is annoying, I'll say, my voice is unique to me. It will resonate with some, it will not resonate with others. And that is okay because no voice is going to resonate with everyone, you know? And that's how you reframe it. That's how you flip the script instead of, holding it as some sort of absolute about you, some absolute truth. You kind of break it down, you flip it, and you're like, actually, no, this is not an absolute truth about myself. It's just some internalized idea that someone instilled in me, that I ended up blindly following as true. So then, once you identify it, once you challenge it, and you reframe it, the fourth and final step is to take small, actionable steps towards affirming this new positive affirmation, this new positive belief. That's how you go about it for me. It's continuing to sit in front of the camera and continuing to talk in a parking lot until I find the resolve to be like, you know what? I'm gonna upload this. No, don't wait until you find the resolve because otherwise it may not come. But I keep getting in front of the camera and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this idea of my voice being annoying stop me from actually pursuing this. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's a self-limiting, those are self-limiting beliefs. That is my struggle with self-limiting beliefs. That is how you can go about, you know, challenging your own self-limiting beliefs and rewriting your script. And you know what the crazy powerful part about this is? That once you start to notice the script and challenge them and you reframe it and you take small actionable steps towards this creative endeavor, towards that dream job, towards whatever your goal is, you start building confidence within yourself. You start cultivating this mindset that, you know what? Yes, you can. Yes, you can do this. It's not some big dream that will never be achievable, you know? It's not beyond you. You take these steps. You take one step at a time and before you know it, you're halfway there. And you keep on going, You look back and you're like, "Wow, taking one step every time, one day at a time has gotten me this far." That's great. That's a really great feeling to have. And it builds a rapport with yourself. When someone comes around trying to instill a self-limiting belief in you, you're able to identify, wait a minute, this is not true. This is a projection coming from them. This is what they think is true. But I know within myself that what they're saying is not true because of X, Y, and Z. Because I took the time to believe in myself. I took the first step. I've been practicing. I've been learning. I've been honing my skill set. I've been cultivating this mindset. And as a result, look how far I've come. There will always be people who will try to instill their own ideas of you and try to get you to move the way they want you to move, you know? And that's the unfortunate truth because I mean, it's just human nature being, social beings and sometimes we can be petty, other times we can be very encouraging, But I think that's a separate video for another day in terms of like, identifying who your allies are and who are your secret haters, Because that's important to know. That is important to know because depending on who you surround yourself with and who you listen to, they will feed you either encouragement or they will feed you lies. And before I forget, I have to give credit to a book that I read because I don't think I'd be here making these videos if I didn't read this book because this book is what helped unblock my creativity and helped me overcome self-limiting beliefs. And I mean, just even identifying them to begin with. And you may have heard about this book. I've seen plenty of people like do YouTube videos on this and credit this book towards the reason why they're pursuing some creative endeavor. And anyway, the book is called The Artist Way. It's a really good book. It's a 12-week program on essentially uncovering, unblocking your creativity. And it has a lot of neat exercises in there and practices that have honestly transformed the way that I view myself and the way I move in the world, and how I behave. And it has definitely had a huge impact in instilling in me the confidence that I can do YouTube, that I can start a business, that if I really want to pursue these creative projects, that I am definitely capable of doing those things. I am capable of creating my own dream job, instead of applying to a dream job, which if that's your goal, then go for it. But for me, like maybe I want to create my dream job. Maybe I want to be in a position where I get to lead and I get to be a spokesperson on right living, and I'm still figuring out what that necessarily means. But to me, it's having good values, good morals, having a strong growth mindset. Because ultimately, I want to build a community here on YouTube that centers around encouragement, that centers around being an ally for people, that centers around the idea that I want to be a spokesperson for positivity. And that sounds like cliche and like cringy. And so before I lose the point, I just want to let you guys know that whew, you are not alone. Like I struggle with self-limiting beliefs and sometimes they win. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes they do win. They won this past weekend. But guess what? They're not gonna win today. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I have the courage to, just be like, fuck it. If my voice is annoying, then my voice is annoying and the people won't watch the video. That's fine. But if my voice is not annoying, then people will watch the video just fucking fine and they're not even going to think about my voice being annoying. They're just gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, this guy talked for 10, 15 minutes. I don't fucking know. He had some good points. Take it or leave it. Go on to the next YouTube video, Anyway, so you're not alone. You're not alone. I struggle with self-limiting beliefs, but just because I struggle with them and you may struggle with them doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck in them. So remember to notice them, challenge them, reframe it, and take actionable steps towards having a healthy sense of self-belief in yourself, And affirmations are going to be your best friend. I know it sounds woo-woo, but self-limiting beliefs are just negative affirmations about yourself. So let's flip it and start instilling and cultivating some positive ones. You are capable, you are strong, you are creative, you are talented, you are worthy and deserving. In case no one told you, I'm telling you. So, if this resonated with you at all, let me know. Comment down below. What are some of your negative self-beliefs that you have about yourself? Some of your own self-limiting beliefs that hold you back? And let's work them out. Let's work them out. Why not? I'd love to know, and I'd love to help you out. Let's hash that shit out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.